Our story today is an intersection between the old and the new, ancient legends and modern science.
Gabrielle! 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 Look at it, Gabrielle. What could it be? What could it mean?
We'll be talking about all three of those people before the review is over. Let's start with the professor, our good friend Whit Bissell. We got to know him well as General Kirk in the Time Tunnel, as well as from his roles in Land of the Giants and Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea. He had a rugged, very good-looking face, when he didn't have that beard that makes him look like he's 110. We don't know what he found yet, except for a very young Kim Cattrall to be his assistant. Right now, he's back at his museum, spinning a story for a group of people.
If you'll close your eyes, just get comfortable, ladies and gentlemen. It's a long journey back 2,000 years to the birth of Christ. The Iron Age, 200 BC. The invention of the wheelbarrow in China. The Bronze Age, 1500 BC.
He takes them back 30,000 years.
The first moments of tribe and community. A constant struggle for survival. But these primitive men...
I think we can see why David is attending this lecture.
Science to help them explain this giant's existence. In a time when ferocious beasts still dominated the land, this creature frightened even the bravest of the tribes and the hunters. I don't know who that interloper was, but I know he existed. He lived and died 30,000 years ago.
Somewhere in the American Southwest, 30,000 years ago, another Hulk existed. The professor believes he's found solid evidence of it.
But the creature could be reconstructed from fossilized bone fragments.
Well, if we find any fossil remains, yes. It'll be like putting together a three-dimensional jigsaw puzzle.
That's what most archaeology is, solving a jigsaw puzzle. Our fickle planet wasn't kind enough to preserve a lot of this stuff intact. How thoughtless.
Professor, what are the possibilities of joining the expedition?
Oh, this isn't an amateur dig. All our workers are credentialed graduate students.
Well, I can appreciate that, sir, but I have had, rather extensive fieldwork experience.
I'm sorry, all the jobs have been filled.
Yeah, good-looking guy, isn't he? Then again, very young Kim Cattrall ain't so bad herself. Most people know her from Sex and the City, a show I never watched. I know her from Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country, where she was the villainous Lieutenant Valeris, and a few others. She was born in Liverpool, but when she was still a baby, her family relocated to Canada. She attended both the London Academy of Music and Dramatic Arts and the American Academy of Dramatic Arts, whereupon she landed her first movie role. That was only 4 years before this appearance. She was still getting her feet under her and mostly doing character parts like this. It would be a few more years before she became a household name through movies like Police Academy and Mannequin. And of course, her steady role in Sex and the City, a role she initially turned down, clinched her fame. Right now, I have a feeling her reaction gives us an idea why she does this.
I have a background in anatomy.
Young man, Gabrielle, Dr. White, is our field supervisor, and she has the final word.
We leave in the morning. Be here at 5:45. The bus leaves at 6 a.m.
I've got the job.
Yes.
Well then, Professor Williams says indecision is the privilege of the young. At least he didn't say it's a woman's prerogative to change her mind. I might have had to scream.
But one afternoon, a guest lecturer came to one of my classes. He spoke on the comparative anatomy between man and ape. 3 weeks later, I enlisted in the course of archaeology. Here I am. You know, I never got to thank him. I read that he died. But I never forgot what he looked like. His name was Dr. David Banner. I knew who you were when we met in the museum.
She's not going to tell anyone, but since she kinda has him by the whatchamacallits, he may as well answer her question.
A colleague, a friend, who was the first person to witness the metamorphosis. I was dreaming about the death of someone that I loved very much. I don't remember what happened once the metamorphosis began.
He goes through the whole story, including Elena's death and the creature being blamed for it. If he were to reappear in public alive, there would be too many questions, and ultimately it's likely he'd be charged with her murder since he is the creature. Something to keep in mind all through this series: people instinctively trust David and open up to him. He can tell instinctively who's trustworthy and who isn't. And as we know, a lot of women fall for him in a big way. Is Gabrielle one of them? We'll have to wait and see.
Even if I did believe you, what could you possibly need from us? Why did you come here?
Well, if you suffered from an affliction that you thought no one in the world ever had, and then suddenly you discovered that someone else had that same affliction in the past, wouldn't you try to find out everything you could about that person, regardless of how long ago they lived?
Does that answer your question? He'd love to have his life back. Right now, a big green guy is holding it.
And you're saying that this represents the metamorphosis you go through?
I'm saying that it might. You see, a solar explosion, a supernova, might have created an excessive amount of gamma radiation. That's what happened to me, a gamma overdose. And the professor still might find evidence of even more mutants.
He wants to check whatever fossils they find for excessive radiation. If they have it, he wants to know about the plant that figure is holding. Could it be a treatment for the problem?
But it's impossible to know whether the plant is the cause or the cure of the transformation.
I know. But I can't just walk away with that unanswered, now can I?
No.
Well then, let's go dig.
Dr. White! Dr. White, would you hand me that flashlight? Thank you.
He's found cave drawings, bones, the works. This looks to be a burial chamber. Let's gather the bone fragments and take them to the museum to see if we can put them back together. Those guys are tired of white people invading their sacred grounds and removing their heritage. You can't blame them. The older gentleman is Chief Geswanus who served as chief of the Squamish First Nation of Burrard Inlet for 12 years. He was born on a reservation, and when he was 5, he was sent to the White People's Mission School. You get the feeling these European stock goofballs couldn't pronounce Geswanus without fracturing their tongues, so they arbitrarily changed his name to Dan George. We love our one-syllable words, don't we? He worked various jobs throughout his life and finally landed in acting at the age of 65. He kept acting right up to his death at the age of 82.
What do you think you're doing? Get away from there!
What's the problem?
There's no problem. I just want to make sure no reservation property finds its way into the city. White eyes.
I know that was a common term for white people, but in David's case, if only he knew, right? Gabrielle finally has to drive through them and their barricade and dare them to keep standing in front of the Jeep. Fortunately, they can take a hint. Later, Lone Wolf is telling the legends to a group of kids.
He is father to Geneth and to all people. The first hunter. He walks the land, eliminating the boundaries and making us all one great tribe.
Would be nice, wouldn't it? Everybody realize we're all the same species and all have the same feelings and hopes and live with each other in peace. I'm a devout Christian, most of you know that. I used to live next to an equally devout Muslim family. They were terrific people and good friends, and when we moved out, they served us the most amazing meal I have ever had. At the end, the man gave me a Quran as a parting gift. I happily accepted it, even though I knew I wouldn't do anything with it. It's called respect. He offered a gift from the heart. I'm not going to disrespect that. If everybody else would just show simple respect to each other, we'd have a much happier humanity.
Why is he green, Grandfather?
To overcome the hatred. If he were yellow or brown or red like us, or even white, any of the colors of man, whichever he was, that people would think they were superior. So he is green, the only one.
There is logic in what he says.
And that makes the rest of us the same.
A new fairy tale, Lone Wolf? Get up, Michael. I don't want my son growing up thinking these stories of yours are real.
But I like them.
Did Rick ever read a comic book or watch a fantasy TV show or pretend to be a superhero? It's all harmless and kids enjoy it. Why shouldn't they learn the full scope of their heritage, including the legends that carried their people right down to the present day?
I'll tell you stories. True ones.
Come on, Rick, they're just kids.
They need to learn the truth now.
The truth is that everybody gets. Everybody but us. They come in here and they take and take. The government, the BIA. It started happening a long time before you were born, Grandfather. You children remember, when someone tries to take something from you, protect it. Even if the odds are against you, even if you got no chance of winning. Don't let anybody come in here and take what belongs to you.
Speaking of respect, he thinks the archaeologists are disrespecting their land, their culture, and their history. He's right. Now, before you suspend me from the yardarm, let me explain. If we want to arrange with the locals to borrow things like those bones for study and then put them back, that's respect. Most of the time, museums and other entities don't put them back. As we watch him, we'll observe that Rick is conflicted. He preaches, don't let them take your stuff, especially your heritage, but he rejects the legends and stories that define that heritage. He doesn't have to believe them. It's enough that the person who owned those bones believed it. That makes it important, something the kids should learn along with the whole hang on to your stuff thing.
It's better they learn it now, Lone Wolf, before they grow up. Not like us.
I wonder who belongs to those other kids. Rick has decided to try and scare the whiteys away.
That ought to do it, huh?
Yeah, that'll scare them off.
I don't know why you're doing this. They're leaving tomorrow anyway.
Yeah, but they'll be back as soon as they get their funding extended.
I just don't want to see anybody getting hurt.
Nobody's gonna get hurt. Just a little dusty.
A little dusty isn't good enough for Frank, but he's not telling them.
Hey, I forgot the shovel. I'll catch up with you guys.
He's rigging a full-blown cave-in.
We better get out of here.
I got it. Fletcher, we've got to get going. Come on.
More of the roof falls in. Gabrielle is pinned under a large beam. Yeah, they'll be okay now. Might scare the liver out of them, but he'll get them to safety. And Gabrielle gets to watch the change happen.
David?
The professor didn't see the change, but he's watching the result very carefully.
Stay away.
He said to stay away. He wants to be buried under all those rocks.
Where is he, Gabrielle? Where's David?
Take it easy.
Right.
By the way, David's not a fan of confined spaces.
Wait! Don't go!
See him, Gabrielle? It's the creature from the cave painting. How could that be?
Meanwhile, Lone Wolf and Michael have a problem.
Get it, grandfather?
Push hard.
It's him.
Let him save you a heart attack, sir. He moves it with one hand and then runs off. Michael has something to tell his dad about those legends. The professor is holding a press conference.
Just what did you find in the cave, Professor Williams?
I'd rather speak on the subject of the finds we made at the dig site.
Professor, we're here because of a rumor that you sighted a creature down there.
I've held this press conference to assure those who are concerned that I'm in good health.
Did you see something in the cave?
If you have any questions regarding the cave painting or the skeleton remains...
Professor, what about the rumors? Did you see an unusual form of life?
He's going about this very poorly. These guys can tell when someone is trying to hide something, and they smell blood in the water.
I'm not sure what I saw in there.
Did it look like this picture?
What I saw could be of immense scientific significance.
But what was it, Professor?
Gentlemen and ladies, out of a 30,000-year sleep, suspended animation, if you will. I believe we discovered the missing link.
That's what he's going with? We don't really hear the term a lot anymore, but at this time, finding the missing link between Homo sapiens sapiens and our simian cousins was the holy grail for some scientists. The young Earth creationists like to point out that the fossil record has loads of missing links, even between the early hominids and each other, so that proves the whole thing is wrong. For the record, as a Christian, yes, I am a creationist in that I acknowledge a creator that exists outside our known universe that put the blasted thing here. What I am not is a young Earth creationist. I used to be. I was like that old joke about the predatory bird, the king of the jungle, and the skunk, because I bought it all, hawk, lion, and stinker. Sorry about that. Then I got into astronomy. That was that. I couldn't reconcile a 10,000-year-old universe with that galaxy I was observing that's 2.5 million light years away. I offer that as background so everyone knows where I'm coming from. There are massive gaps in the fossil record. That's how the whims of our planet work. A little piece preserved over here and another over there, and you get to try to assemble them. It's the same with ancient books. Caesar's Gallic Wars, we have 13 manuscripts. The oldest is from the 14th century, almost 1,500 years after the fact, and they don't all read the same. The older copies wore out and vanished, so we have copies of copies of copies of copies of copies of copies of copies. That's our little corner of the universe, for better or worse. But a lot of scientists truly believe that we were on the cusp of solving the whole mystery of human evolution. The big discovery of the missing link was just around the corner. All we needed was one example of the right skeleton. Yeah, we're still checking corners. More and more scientists have decided over the years that there ain't no such animal. Which is to say, they've abandoned the search for one winner-take-all transition and are now looking for various transitional forms among the hominid remains themselves. The biggest problem with the professor's line is he's not the only one who made such a claim. There were frauds and hoaxes all over the place. He has to know that, and all his statement has done is increase the reporter's suspicions.
Would you elaborate?
I can't.
Did it look like this picture?
Isn't the missing link as big a myth as the Hulk? Or should I say as big a hoax?
Gentlemen, all I know is what I saw.
This press conference is over, gentlemen. Come with me, Professor.
Naturally, that's not good enough for Jack McGee.
Do you have any comment?
Professor, please.
Doctor, you were in the cave with him, Doctor. What did you see?
What do you expect to find when you return to the cave?
She saw a door in your face. We know for sure now that spending all that time with the man who changes into the Hulk, the conversations about his career and all the rest had no effect on him. He's still willing to sacrifice this mystery man to be a real reporter again.
Gabrielle.
I ask not. David, you're all right.
Yes.
I saw you. I saw the creature. He was a giant with a frightening roar. Primitive, primal. Looked just like the paintings in the cave. You saved me and the professor.
He's always glad to hear positive things like that because he doesn't remember what he does as the Hulk. He's like the guy who had a little too much fun last night and wakes up saying, "Oh no, what did I do last night?" Except that David gets to avoid the hangover.
Well, the professor has a different interpretation.
He's being labeled a fraud.
Is there anything I can do to help?
You could go out there and transform in front of those reporters. I'm sure that McGee fella could drive you to it.
No. But that creature of yours is even more unbelievable than the missing link of the professor's. But now that I've seen him, I can understand your desperation.
Remember what I've said before about David building a network of people he's helped to be able to call on in a pinch? He could have a super powerful member right here. Even apart from the professor, she's a recognized archaeology scholar in her own right. If she has her doctorate, she worked her butt off for it. We're not just talking about hundreds of hours in the library. We're including what she was doing when all this started. Getting out there in the field, digging in the ground, getting her hands dirty. I guarantee she didn't spend a whole lot of time perfectly made up like she is now. There's even a good chance that wasn't her first cave-in, but it was her first Hulk rescue.
David, good news. We can start the amino acid analysis immediately. Come.
We may have another one falling for David. I don't understand it. Take away his soft but well-defined good looks, his IQ in the stratosphere, his selflessness and genuine desire to help people, and his gentle demeanor, and what have you got? Oh, right. Silly me.
Did you see where the creature went?
Out there. He'll wander the land until his burial grounds is restored.
Well, this thing is not one of your spirits. He's real. He exists.
Our spirits are real. They exist.
Did anybody else see this spirit?
Michael, the boy was with me.
Can you tell me what he looked like, Michael?
He was real scary.
Thanks for being so detailed, Michael. The boy is shocked when Jack believes him. Let's keep talking.
Hey, Michael! You're a reporter.
Yeah, I'm Jack McGee, the National Register. Doing a story on this creature.
Listen to this. Lone Wolf's got the press believing in wandering spirits.
There's plenty for your paper to exploit around here besides an old man's dreams.
I just want to ask a few questions, then I'll leave.
Why don't you ask me?
Why, did you see the creature?
When Jack said creature, Rick thought he said preacher, so he decided to try it.
I seen the government approve a dig on our lands. I seen them come in here and take things. They call them artifacts, relics. They happen to be the sacred bones of our ancestors.
Yeah, I understand that you've got a problem here.
A way of life, man, our way of life has been completely pushed aside for convenience. Nobody cares what it does to an old man like Lone Wolf. Now that's a story.
Story's been told. A lot.
But nothing's changed. And nobody's listening.
And how is that Jack's fault? They have it in their heads that this is the only story any reporter should be working on here. Until they're the ones paying him, they don't get to decide that.
So how long are we supposed to be ignored and do nothing about it?
Maybe till somebody's ready to listen.
Oh, fine, that's fine. And that's when you get to talk to my grandfather and my son. Now get out of here.
You may have the authority to keep him from talking to Michael, but Lone Wolf is a grown-up and he can talk to whoever he ding-dang well pleases. At the museum, Gabrielle has the results of that amino acid test she mentioned.
Protein remnants show radiation damage.
So you found another victim. Now the cure.
That means that the plant may be the key.
All they have to do is get some of the plant and analyze it. First, they have to identify it. With that kind of detail, should be a piece of cake.
I'm very busy right now.
Yeah, I'm sorry to bother you. I want to talk to your boss.
He's been through enough, Mr. McGee. He's not seeing any reporters, especially you.
Oh, especially me. When did I get to be the bad guy?
It probably has something to do with your paper's reputation. It's preceded you.
Smooth, Gabrielle. We know Jack is one of the pushiest people we ever met, And here he goes.
This is Dr. White. Would you please send a guard to my lab and no more visitors in this area? Thank you.
How about you, Doctor? What did you see?
We don't want any publicity, Mr. McGee. Just a little privacy.
Everybody wants publicity, as long as it's flattering.
For the most part, he's right. But the museum's board of directors more or less forced the professor to hold that press conference. He did not want to do it.
Except, of course, you and the doctor, you want privacy. Only last week, when you made your big discovery, you didn't want privacy. Then we have the Indians out at the reservation, a bunch of troublemakers crying exploitation and begging for more. Frankly, sometimes, Doctor, I get just a little tired of it all. But I have a job of my own to do, and I'm going to do it, whether it's convenient to you or not.
Remember what I said about Jack being pushy?
Mr. McGee, there's something you should realize. I've been educated in the finest schools, and I'm lucky enough to be the protege of the distinguished Professor Williams. But before that, I was Gabrielle Whitecloud. I was raised on that reservation with those troublemakers. Goodbye, Mr. McGee.
Sometimes he ends up pushing his own foot into his mouth. We can hope that's enough for Jack to take the L and go talk to somebody else.
Rick! Yeah! Come here! Look at this.
Look at what? I don't believe it. We gotta put a stop to this sideshow.
If he really wants people to understand their culture, heritage, and lifestyle, a museum exhibit is a good way to do it. He has me confused because he wants to enlighten people, but he doesn't want to show them anything. So, how...
What do you want to do? Go to the museum and take back the bones?
Maybe we ought to take the whole museum.
Sure.
If we took the museum, they wouldn't be able to ignore us anymore, would they?
That's crazy, man. It could be dangerous.
That's right. You with me?
Okay.
Frank insists on bringing his gun. Rick doesn't like it, but Frank's the one holding the gun.
I grew up with Rick and Frank and little Jim. They feel caught in the middle, out of place. We know a lot about feeling out of place.
When did you leave home?
Oh, a Navajo never really leaves home. It's just that once you've made it out here...
Change job, change your name.
Mm-hmm. Dr. White. Sounds credible, doesn't it? More than Dr. Whitecloud.
Sad but true. I can't remember exactly when it was, but sometime in the late 70s or early 80s, a Soviet reporter came to America and spent several weeks studying what life is like under a democracy. Overall, he was impressed, but the one thing that baffled him was Indian reservations. He said, "Why do you have these? You say America is the great melting pot where all cultures unite, except for these people. They're segmented off by themselves and don't seem to be full-fledged citizens." He couldn't make noodles or donuts out of the idea. If America really is the cultural mulligan stew, why aren't the original Americans allowed to participate? Why do they have to be separate? Almost 50 years later, I still haven't heard a good answer.
Hi. Where were you? Professor, is something wrong?
It's time to close up shop.
But we think we've just discovered a new plant species.
It's too late. The board of directors has discontinued our funds. They feel I've lost my credibility.
That only happened because they forced him to stand in front of a gaggle of reporters before he was ready, but the stuffed shirts that inhabit these boards are never wrong. When they screw up, it's someone else's fault, every time. It's a true scientific phenomenon. Gabrielle is determined to identify the plant, and they have maybe 2 hours to do it. David says they're missing some key element that sets this plant apart from the others.
Gabrielle.
That's it. It's the missing piece.
Yeah, identifying the plant now should be easy. Come on, let's go.
Whatever ibogaine is, they need to find a plant that has it. But now they have a scent to follow. Meanwhile, the boys have bluffed the night guard into opening the door. After giving him a large headache, they're in.
Gabrielle!
What are you doing here?
We've come for the bones, Akuni.
You don't care about the bones.
Sure we do. When the TV and radio crews get here, we'll tell them just how much we care.
You can't have them.
We learned a little trick from the white man. You take what you want. No matter what the cost.
Get inside.
They have David locked inside one of those exhibit rooms with the glass front. This is interesting stuff. When David pounds on it, it bows like plexiglass. But when the Hulk eventually hits it, it'll shatter like plate glass. There's a built-in timer that changes it back and forth over the course of the day.
Why are you locking him up?
He's in the way. And we've already taken care of the security guards. They're locked out.
We'll never pull this off.
We already did. We're inside, they're outside.
You think? There's only the three of you. It won't work.
So what else are we supposed to do? You've forgotten everything, Gabrielle. You become one of them. Anagi. That means the enemy, remember?
I know what it means. I am always Navajo before anything.
Is that so, Dr. White?
I'm afraid he's got her there. She bent her Navajo-ness so she could get to where she is and be able to help them. Different people will have different views about that. Knowing the general attitude about first Americans at this time, I conclude that she did what she had to do. Rick and company are violating the law because they think they're doing what they have to do. I suspect Navajo law has something to say about things like burglary and possible vandalism, but that's different. Just ask him.
You've been so busy studying the family of man, you forgot about your own.
Will you two just shut up?
That is not true. I'm doing good things for our people.
You do things for you. If it was for your people, you'd bring it back to the reservation and teach it to the kids. Let them see you're not ashamed.
I said shut up!
Gabrielle!
What the hell are you doing, man?
You shouldn't have jumped out at us like that.
Professor!
This is why you don't let the gun nut bring his gun, because he's nuts.
No. He didn't do nothing. Blew it, man.
You're wrong. With the old man hurt, they gotta pay attention.
Crazy.
What's the matter with you? Just shut up! Just shut up!
Who could have predicted that the guy who insisted on bringing his artificial wiener would turn out to be crazy?
Look, I'm calling the shots now, and I say we use the old man to make our point.
What does he mean by that? What does he intend to do? Gabrielle doesn't intend to let him do anything.
Stay away! Don't you touch him.
Shut up!
In a moment, I'm going to point to David and say, I dare you to tell him to shut up. As I said, since even Lou Ferrigno couldn't punch his way through a sheet of quarter-inch plexiglass, we had to replace it with one of our special windows. I learned a long time ago that when you see a breakable window like that, it's actually made of sugar. So, I guess after you break it, you can eat it.
Oh, God, what is it? Where'd he come from?
Not so much with the gun. I don't think it would go down as smoothly as the sugar. He carries the professor to a couch and gently sets him down. Again, he doesn't like confined spaces, whether natural or man-made. I think Rick is going to have something to say to Lone Wolf.
Just hold it. Come on, come on.
After he gets out of jail, I suspect he and Little Jim will get off easy. Frank, not so much. Gabrielle will probably make sure of that.
Gabrielle? Sorry. It's just like Lone Wolf said, isn't it? It's just like the old man's crazy stories.
Are you sure you want to keep calling them crazy? Since you just saw one play out, wouldn't that also make you crazy?
And obviously I did see something. Whatever I and the other witnesses saw, whatever happened here, defies any scientific explanation, at least for now.
Professor, will you be going back to the dig site?
Yes. We just received a new grant from the museum. I'll be helping my associate set up a museum on the reservation, which will feature the findings from our last expedition.
The note says David is on the phone. He's okay, not sure where he wound up yet.
Did you find the information?
I think so. David, there's no record of a plant containing reserpine and ibogaine.
Well, what about our tests? I mean, they show conclusively that both of those elements were in our plant.
I know. There's only one conclusion. The plant is extinct.
A lot can happen in 30,000 years. Another near miss for David. Gabrielle White Cloud is going home, she says. What she'll do when she gets there, we don't know. They have their goodbyes, and David moves on down the road. As for David, he can't find a cure. If he gets cured and goes back to a normal life, who's going to watch that for 3.5 more seasons plus 3 TV movies? The Incredible Hulk without the Hulk is The Incredible. And that just sounds weird. Then again, very yum. Was that a Freudian slip or what?